What separates those who crumble under pressure from those who rise to meet it? For Hult International Business School students, majority of whom have left their home countries to pursue an accelerated master's degree, this question isn't theoretical, it's the daily reality. In a world where burnout, anxiety, and professional challenges have become the norm, the ability to bounce back isn't just helpful, it's essential for survival, especially when navigating a new culture, language, and educational system simultaneously. Today, we're diving into the science of mental toughness with experts who trains everyone from Fortune 500 executives to elite athletes on how to develop unshakable resilience. Whether you're pulling an all-nighter for your global strategy course, navigating networking events in your second language, or planning your international career path while battling homesickness, this conversation will transform how you approach the unique challenges of your whole journey. Get ready to unlock the psychology of grit because your next breakthrough might be hiding behind your biggest setback, and the resilience to build during this transformative time abroad could become your greatest competitive advantage in the global marketplace. Welcome back to another episode of Voices of Hult San Francisco. Today we're diving into a powerful conversation about mental resilience, leadership, and personal growth. And we're joined today by Sebastian and Saint, who are co-founders of Grit Lab. So welcome.
Awesome.
Welcome.
I appreciate you guys for having us. Thank you,
us.
Hult University, as well.
100%. We're happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know you guys are very busy and you really made it today, so thank you. So
Absolutely.
tell us about Grit Lab. What is it? What do you do? Yeah, and introduce yourselves.
Absolutely. So Sebastian, right? Chris here. You know, this is not a new concept. Resiliency, adversity, daily challenges in life, that's not new to anyone. Has nothing to do with the tactical world of our career, has nothing to do with wearing camouflage or being a mean person or, you know, eating raw meat every day, smacking a whole bunch of raw eggs. Nothing to do with that, right? It's simply started with a thought of, hey, right now when we're on Monday through Friday, when we're not flying and doing our normal job, we put human beings, men and women, through a really rigorous course, and there's a lot of sweat, there's a lot of tears that come with that, and a lot of physical exertion, right? And we bring people to a failure point, and then we talk about it with them. And they look back, especially when they were successful at the end of that, they look back and they're super thankful. So one day I was sitting there and I was talking to Chris and I was like, dude, we do this with the DoD, right? And there's a science behind this, but this is for everyday people as well. Obviously, at 10%, we're not gonna be screaming in people's faces and stuff like that, but just talking life, we don't even have to do something physical, but talking life goes a long way. And that's the backbone of the Grit Lab. It may sound aggressive, the name, but really we want to bring it down to the simplest form and connect with anybody that we can connect with. So.
Awesome. So what are your backgrounds, Saint?
So originally, before even the military, we both come from pretty adverse backgrounds. I grew up on the East Coast. I was born in New York at a young age. Going into high school, I moved across the country pretty much over a weekend, and then found myself in Phoenix. From there, that's when life started to actually hit me. And, you know, as we grow up, we go through a bunch of different, just forms of adversity. And I found myself back in 2016 homeless. That kind of triggered for me to really look at my life, look at my surroundings, and say, hey, what's next for me? And that's where the Air Force, I came knocking on the door and joined the military, and that just opened up a whole another can of worms for me to get into. But I think it gave me all the tools I needed in order to be where I am today. And everything from the training we get to the experiences, the relationships we build, it taught me a lot. And that's kind of what introduced Sebastian and I. I worked in the nuclear field for a couple of years. That was my first duty station. And just the weather conditions to the job itself, long hours, 18-hour days, wearing all your gear and equipment, to then going home to an environment where it's negative 60 degrees. I'm like, I'm not from here at all.
Yeah.
This is tough, you know?
Yeah.
So all those different factors pretty much tying into stress and everything, that's where I really started to unveil or discover what grit meant for me, right? And being in situations where you have no control over, whether it's just the environment you're in, the people you introduce, the relationships, the weather, like all that, you don't really have much control over. But one thing I learned is that you have control over your own self, your own emotions, the way you react to certain situations. And yeah, I mean, from there, it's pretty much, I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about what I have control over, and from there, my outcomes started becoming more in my favor.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
I love that.
I'm from 707, Vallejo, California, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to get too excited in here, but I'll hype it up and
Say
plug
it
in Vallejo,
backwards.
right? Say it backwards, yeah. So growing up in the Bay Area, I come from a great family background, right? My father's Brazilian. My mother has a Brazilian background as well. I have sisters as well. And I didn't have a rough childhood growing up at all. However, all my peers and all my friends, especially growing up in Vallejo, pretty terrible upbringing, right? And I would take those mental notes, and my mother always made fun of me because I'd always bring home, you would call it the land of the lost toys, right? All these people who have so many different issues going on in life, but that's who I found my village to be, right? Was not, what you would assume to be your cookie cutter American, person in society. It was all the rough kids, right?
Yeah.
And we'd come home, we'd hang out together, and just going through life, it was, I was like, man, talking to people is a good time, and learning people's backgrounds is important. And that kicked off my passion of law enforcement.
Okay.
And that's in the realm we work now for the DOD. And at the time, I was too young to join up in law enforcement. California, you have to be 20 and a half. And I was like 17, ready to go enforce the law, right, in California, which is a terrible idea. Right? And with that, the Air Force fell into my lap, and it's been nothing but good things. And it's provided a lot of life lessons, specifically in the realm of adversity and sacrifice, right? So that's essentially it.
That's a common theme, I see. And that's also how you guys come together and relate to, bond to. I think within that, it's a beautiful story. How do we now tie it back within this context? In many cultures, failure creates or carries significant stigma that can feel heavier, especially when studying abroad. I mean, before we mentioned that we're already in the US and we're international, and how that's a lot more heavier on us. So how can Grit Lab help international students overcome or reframe failure as an opportunity rather than, an opportunity for growth rather than full-on adversity coming towards us?
I would say, first of all, that's a great talking point. I was always told, especially after I joined the military, I had a really good mentor who told me that nothing great in life comes from a place of comfort. And you have to be able to step out on risk and put yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to grow. And the Air Force has done an amazing job at presenting those opportunities for me, but it was also on me as a person to take those leaps of faith. And I think for your students here, it's huge. They're taking a massive leap of faith
Big time.
to uproot from their originating countries and then come to a whole new land where everything is going to be pretty much foreign for them,
And apply yourself.
Yeah, and then apply yourself and try to succeed. I would say have a vision, have a goal on what you want to go after, and no matter what you get as an answer, because a lot of times we get no, and that's that first sign of failure, find a way to get to yes.
Yeah.
It's doable, right? And you just have to, again, take your circumstances and cater to what you have specifically, because everyone has different circumstances. What could be a small problem for Sebastian could be a major problem for me, and vice versa, right? So you never know what anyone's going through. However, if you really find that inner grit, that dog in you, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to get it done.
Capital DAWG.
Yeah.
Dog.
Dog.
Yeah.
100%.
And you find a way to get to yes and get anything's. I know as cliche as it sounds, as Disney Channel as it sounds, right? Like anything is possible. It really is if you apply yourself and you just stay down.
Cool. And yes, we did have an event this weekend, and it's a pitch contest. And Nick was a contestant for our participant for that.
Okay.
Very
And
cool.
then our
I saw it on the story.
yeah,
Oh.
our dean said, like, no is just a not yet.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I like that. Just find your yes. And they already took the courage to be here. So just maybe exert more effort and find that grit, as you said.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I would like to add, so grit is, it sounds so aggressive when you say that word in general, right? Grit's on sandpaper, you know, it's applied to a lot of super difficult things that can maybe be taken as extreme. But when you really peel back the layers, it's very simple when it's applied to anything. And on the topic of, like I was saying, you apply, not only are they foreigners coming here, right? They have to apply themselves now.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, as students, right? The academics here are no joke,
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
no.
right? So, and another thing I want to bring up is a lot of people find themselves in this sense of aloneness, which and a lot of times can become dark. We see that a lot in what we do for a living, right? And I want people to know that you're not alone in challenges and day-to-day tasks, right? It doesn't matter if you're a family man with 8 kids or you're a student just solo dolo. You run into problems and people have those similar issues, right? So
That is true.
definitely it's a team dynamic and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've probably all heard that saying, it takes a village. And I hear a lot of parents say it, right, when raising children.
Yeah.
But as adults, even young adults, it does take a village. You got to find your group of people you could connect with. And I think this university has a great opportunity for students to come in and
Yep.
have something relatable. You're all here from another country.
Yep.
You're all here maybe for the first time. And it's like, cool, I'm finding my community. Lean on the people around you. And don't be afraid to hold each other accountable as well. Push
Yep.
each other past your limits.
Exactly. That's how I was able to navigate my way here in San Francisco. So this is my second year in Hult, and last year it was just, since everyone was going through the same experience of being new and having to navigate not just being new here, learning how to be American or learning in school, we really bonded and became a family. So that's one thing that I like about this school, is because you have the same backgrounds, as you said. You found your tribe. So that's
Right.
a really good starting point for anyone who wants to come to Hult or things like that. But some countries say that, we're more resilient and we're better than
Americans.
No, other nationalities and
Got it.
countries. So
I see.
So in that context, how what's the biggest misconception people have about how resilience actually manifests in different cultures? Because I'm pretty sure you guys have flown to different parts of the world, and what's the difference between the cultures that you've seen and that they can apply when they come here?
So between us alone, just combined, we've been to about 80 countries
Okay.
on this job, right? And I can't even tell you how many different cultures we've ran into. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions about resilience, at least in America, is it's based off of success, right? And for example, if someone's driving around in a Ferrari, man, they must have went through a lot of grit, resilience, adversity to get that Ferrari. When in reality, we land somewhere, especially in a country that's going through it, right? Politically, it's civil war, all that, food, humanitarian crisis, and you would see the happiest family, in some of the worst spots. That's probably went through an extreme caliber of all the above, right? Fill in the blank. And they don't have a Ferrari, they don't have a house, they barely have water. So for me personally, it humbles you, and you bring that back to the United States. And as a family man myself, it changes the way you walk in daily life. So for me personally, that's how I feel.
And I think it just goes back to what I was saying earlier too, where it's like something could be massive, like end of world situation I'm going through, but for him it could be nothing, right? In other countries you may see that as well, where they're like, oh, first world problems, right? You hear that meme going around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
First,
yeah,
my
yeah.
phone died, first world problems. But that's real. For a younger generation in America, something that could be minute in another country is the end of the world for them, right? And I think what makes it special about just worldwide, just adversity, is that everyone's situations are different. But I think what really, like he was saying, with like you'll have a family that's going through it, the economic state is horrible in that country, whatever the case may be, but they remain positive. It's a mindset, right? And it's like, again, surrounding yourself with people that are more positive as well, you're able to overcome the stuff that you're going through.
Yeah. Like they say, there's that element there of being dealt with the cards you're dealt with. Some are better, some are bad. Then there are also people who know how to play the game very well.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've had a lot of time. They also
Absolutely.
put the effort in it. I mean, like, my day 10 in the gym is not Sebastian's day 10 in the gym. Sebastian's gone day 5,000. See the can on the rhymes.
I promise you it's a chore. I promise you it's a chore.
But that's also one way. So there's also the physical exercises of things and, you know, the mental portions of things. But the one thing I'd like to also delve deep into is, are there any particular mental exercises that you can implore on us as international students to build that mental or cognitive load in managing resilience?
Yeah, I would say, like for us, it's fitness. That's where we found a passion in as like a way that we could release a lot of these world stressors that we face. I would say find your passion. Recently for me, it's been artwork too, right? So I like to draw now. It's like something I'm like, wow, this is a rediscovered passion. So finding stuff that makes you happy where you kind of just get lost in it, whether it's meditation, right? You hear a lot of military men and women will say they like to meditate. Take 30 minutes to an hour every morning. Don't even touch your phone. Don't do anything. Wake up, get your nice cup of coffee or your smoothie, whatever it may be, and take your deep breaths. Breathing exercise is what they teach us at one of our schoolhouses that we go through. Square breathing or pyramid breathing, controlled breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth, putting on whatever playlist you got going on, right? But I would say for each individual it could be different, but I would strive or challenge every student, right, is to find what makes you happy, what doesn't feel like it's work,
100%.
what relieves your stress, and let that be your happy place, right? We say it all the time when we push students through our courses. Find your happy place, right? You're going through a hard time right now. You're doing thousands of push-ups. You're running miles. Find your happy place. Get lost, and then that stress will start to dwindle away.
Definitely. They say you have to think of it as if you're actually in the center of the tornado.
Oh yeah.
There's stillness in the center of a tornado, but you also create that tornado.
Absolutely.
Find calm in the chaos.
I have a hurricane. And this is actual facts. It's an actual calm location in the middle of a hurricane.
Yep.
Okay, take that for what it is. I've never experienced a hurricane, right? But it's obviously terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's funny how nature works. And to bounce off what he was talking about in regards to know you, a lot of people come up to us, especially at the gym too. They're like, "Hey man, what plan are you on? How do I get like you guys?" Or how do I become mentally tough, right? And the response every time is, you know your body, you know you as a person, and tap into that. Passions, hobbies, whatever that is. Meditation, and there's different forms of meditation. So.
That's good. And one question that I was asked this weekend was like, Diane, how do you relax? I actually don't know how to answer that question. I was like, I'll tell you when I figure out.
Right. This lady is a hurricane in and of itself. She does everything. Oh, I don't know how she's an android. She's an android.
Robot. Okay, so but do you have an advice for our listeners that something they can start using today, like a technique that you have to build resilience when they feel overwhelmed?
So this is more of a, if you got a boo thing out there, 100% plug this in, but start writing things down. I don't do this, right? But it helps. I do this on my notes on my iPhone, right? But if you have a erasable, they sell like erasable markers for mirrors. Everybody obviously has to check themselves out before they step out in public, right? You gotta make sure that you look GQ for the day.
Yeah.
Write whatever your challenge is for the day. It could be something small, right? Write that on the mirror. Breathe. Really take a second, put your phone down, get away from blue light, and sit there and ask yourself as you as an individual, how are you going to knock out today? Even if it's something simple, or if it's something that's going to be difficult, like your guys' tests, whatever academics you guys got coming up. But really tap into you, bring it down to bare basics, and then build from there.
Awesome. I'll start doing that.
Yeah, I have a
Yes, Saint?
GSD this acronym. It's get stuff done.
Oh.
That's the PG version. Get stuff done.
Say less.
Checklist. So if I know like tomorrow's gonna be a beast, I have a lot on my plate. That night before, I write down everything I got to get done for the following day. It's like, cool, I know exactly what I got to get done. I'm a man on mission. It's fourth quarter right now. The game's on the line. Get it done, right? But also in those moments where I need to take a step back because everything else around me is moving 1,000 miles per hour, I have like this little method that I learned from a behavioral therapist. But pretty much, yeah, you have 5 pictures, right? The 5 happiest things in your life, right? Whether it's family, friends, a location, but think of that picture on each finger, right? And then take your deep breaths, close your eyes, and then just touch your finger and think of that image.
Oh.
And help kind of dial yourself back, ground yourself into that moment and say, okay, cool, like I'm calm. Or your reasons why. It could be your reasons why, like I'm doing this because my success, I want to build a career, cool. My success, picture yourself, manifest where you're going to be at in 5 years or after you graduate, the company position you want to be in, whatever the case may be, whatever drives you, motivates you, and ground yourself in those 5 things.
Wow.
I actually love that.
Or
The
close
CIA actually uses that. I learned
Really?
from one of the doctors that CIA agents will go through and use those like stress release techniques.
Or close yourself in your car, shut all your windows, and scream as loud as you can. And I've done that too as well, numerous times. Yeah, numerous times.
Yeah. So we are actually, Nick, having an event with Hult students here in San Francisco. So tell us about that and what can the students expect from this event and who's going to be there and what are we going to do?
Absolutely. So first of all, everybody relax. Don't freak out. Okay.
1,000 push-ups, guys.
Yeah. We're approachable dudes, right? We're girl dads, okay? We're nice guys, all right? The physical portion of this event is going to maybe be 10% of the whole day, right? It's a slotted 3 hours is what we have with students. And there's going to be a little bit of stress indoctrination. And it's just a tool to bring people to a point to where they're going to be challenged,
Okay.
right? They're going to be challenged. They're probably going to last about 15 to 20 minutes to a point because they're also going to be working in a team. And we have methods to the madness. We want to keep it a surprise, right? But we have methods to the madness that bring everybody to a point of failure. And we're going to stop. We're going to regroup. We're going to come back to earth. And we're going to talk about resilience and how you guys as students apply that literally every day here at Hult. And when you as a student who are like, hey, maybe, you know what, I should look for a gym or I should become, just overall focus on my wellness. Boom, our sponsors are right there. We're partnering up with Live Fit Gyms SF here in the city.
Oh.
In fact, we're going to go over there to show face today after we're done here. And we might even get a workout in right after this at the gym.
Oh,
Straight up.
cool.
Thanks.
Nice.
Max Nutrition, when they are thirsty, are going to be right over there in the corner as well. There's going to be electrolytes provided, stuff like that. And because we're not trying to promote fitness, right? Like I said, it's a very small portion, but mostly it's going to be talking life with students. And mind you, this is completely customizable. So if students are, come to a point that's quicker than what we expected, we can stop. We're going to be talking, and we're going to be bouncing ideas off, and we're going to get personal, and students can shoot questions back to us. We want to be challenged as the founders of this company. We want feedback, direct, raw feedback.
And I know he was mentioning it's not all physical, and it's a tool that we use. But if you look just at like the human anatomy, right? If you take care of your physical being, the temple of your body, your mind reciprocates that, right? So it's more like when we push each other in the gym, we're growing mentally as well, right? So as you face these stressors of life, if physically you are fit, little do you know you're training your mind every day to prepare yourselves for these adverse events in your life.
That is true. That is true. And I do believe in that. Your body is your temple. I saw your aura ring. I just saw it. I have one too. I track everything, like my sleep, my stress levels and everything, and I find that very important. And then, so for everyone who actually wants to register, there are limited slots, and there will be some surprise goodies for everyone who's going to join. So sign up. We'll include the link to this podcast in YouTube and on Spotify and Instagram as well. But how do our students contact you? So let's say event is done. What's our next step?
Right, so we're live on IG as of like a month ago, right?
Hey.
So our Instagram looks a little sketchy. There's only like 200 followers or something, right? So follow us.
They need
on
a marketing person, so please apply.
100%. Yes, 100%. Now, underscore the Grit Lab and all together, right, is the IG page. On there is our business email. They can scan the QR code as well. And from there, we're really using this event and the feedback from the students to build further, hence our website. We already have our second event in the works right now. We have a shared notes page that we'll be doing in Solano County, just because it's a little local for us. The idea is for this event to hit, to come back with the new students coming in,
Yeah.
you guys as alumni to share your experiences and really just connect all over the Bay Area. There's no limits. And how cool would it be for, this to be a normal thing here at Hult, at least in San Francisco?
Oh, yeah.
And then we connect with Dubai, we connect with the London campus.
Definitely.
The Boston.
But overall, right now, it's Instagram.
IG.
Or
Instagram.
catching us around Vallejo or where we end up flying to in the neighborhood,
We're global, international.
Awesome.
Worldwide.
Oh,
Dale.
but did you know that the most diverse city/town in America is Vallejo?
Really?
Oh.
I've
Yes.
heard that before.
Yes.
I've heard that before. So my wife, she's Filipino, right? And I'm forever,
Hey.
bebo, right?
Hey.
We're stuck in the Bay Area forever, right? And just my family alone, a mixture of Brazilians, Filipinos. There's so many other like side alleys and roadways that you could go down in terms of diversity. I love the Bay Area. It's in my heart, and there's so many other things that blossom from that: food, music, all that. We were talking about Afrobeats earlier, right? I'm a piano, all that. So
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you.
Perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this podcast. We are with two renegades from the Grit Lab.
Wow.
And we not only implore you to follow their channels, but we also encourage you to take from them. Leadership, grit, starts from within, but preparation is also key. It's just as important to work from the outside in as well from the inside out. If you want to learn more, you know what to do. If you enjoyed this podcast, this recent episode, we encourage you to share it with your classmates, friends back home who might be considering coming to Hult, who are already international students, international in business, etc. Please tag us on Instagram at Voices of Hult with your biggest takeaway of this episode. Make sure you tag Saint, make sure you tag Grit Lab, make sure you tag Sebastian. And please don't forget to subscribe wherever you are. Get your podcast so you never miss our conversations with thought leaders shaping the future of global business. With that said, take care of yourselves.